There have been a lot of controversies in bowling over the last decade or so, such as two-handed bowling being cheating or legal, urethane having a resurgence and on the verge of being banned, but probably one of the more interesting bans that we have seen over the last handful of years is string pin bowling. Should the PB implement it into its tournaments, or should it be outright banned and only used for recreational play or killed before it spreads like a bunch of weeds? What's up, people of YouTube? I'm Karsatowski and welcome to the Karsatowski Bowling YouTube channel. So as I've mentioned, string pin bowling has been everywhere over especially the last year or so. Now, a lot of people have given their thoughts about string pin bowling, but I have never made a video about my thoughts about it. I did make a YouTube short a few months ago after the one-handers versus two-handers team match that was on television, but I have not actually had my thoughts put out there as regard to string pin bowling. So I am going to go ahead and just explain some of my thoughts and observations on what I think string bowling ultimately would end up to. Now, I have never bowled on string pins myself, so this is purely just by looking at what other people have bowled on and the advancements that I've seen. There's no string pins anywhere near where I am right now, so eventually I might make a video about me bowling on them, but this video is just going to be my current observations of string pin bowling. So, string pin bowling is kind of the result of the sport of bowling evolving from the early days of equipment changes, of when bowlers would basically use plastic and urethane equipment. Well, actually, before that, they would start off with wood bowling balls, then they would go to rubber balls, then plastic balls, and then urethane, and then what we have today as reactive resin. And also with different lane conditions. Like, at the time, pretty much every bowling lane was made out of wood. Now, they're made of a lot of synthetic. And I kind of see string pin bowling as being the same thing. The main reason why a lot of people have favored string pin bowling as opposed to like free fall pins is because it negates the need for a mechanic to be able to work on the lanes. And as you know, pins get bounced around all over the place, they get stuck in the ball return sometimes, and there's always the need of a mechanic to actually work on the machines. And the machines for string pin bowling, they have a total of 10 pins on the lanes, and they're attached to the actual ball machine, to the lane machine. So when the pins get knocked over, the machine automatically resets them, puts them back into the pin setter, and then just sets them all over again, as opposed to having another separate batch of pins ready and waiting and using that for the next frame. Now, the thing about negating lane mechanics, again, that's a position that a lot of people just feel like that is almost unnecessary and kind of needs to be phased out with string pins. But honestly though, you need lane mechanics to work on the new machines anyway. So it's not necessarily getting rid of the whole lane mechanic position. It's just giving them something else to work on instead of the free fall pins. Yeah, but that's like the mechanic side. Like, I think that if the mechanics were actually paid a better wage, I definitely feel like there would be a much better need for them to actually work in bowling centers. Because if they were paid a little bit more, then that would incentivize people to actually have that as a good job. Also, going into actually have the string pins work. Now, especially in the PBA telecast that used string pins, the pin carry was very weird. Like, there weren't any messengers, there were no trip 4 pins. It kind of felt very artificial and a lot more difficult to actually carry. So you have to almost hit your bowling balls perfect in the pocket. And that's across the board. That's not just with one-handers or two-handers. That's across the board. Like, none of those best bowlers in the world in that step ladder finals perfectly had those pins figured out. And you know what? It shows. String pin bowling has a little bit different carry, and it definitely makes you have to be a little bit more precise. But honestly, is that really what bowling needs? I mean, there's just nothing like throwing a light pocket hit and then having the head pin go across the lane and hitting the 10 pin messenger for a strike. There's just nothing more satisfying than doing that, especially in the best time possible. With string pins though, it just makes it seem like that everybody is a little bit too much on an even playing field. Like, not only do you have to be able to choose the correct ball, but you also have to fight a tough lane condition, like let's say US Open pattern. And now it's even more difficult to strike because you have to go through all of those adversities, and you have to get your bowling ball to hit the pocket exactly perfect. So honestly though, that's not entirely negative though, because it does reward shot making over just high rev rate and carry contests. But at the same time though, is that really what we need with string pins? I'm not real sure if that's the answer. So with those things being in mind, I kind of look overall at string pin bowling as something as kind of a novelty. I mean, I think it's a fun thing to look at, but personally, I just don't think we really need to have it in competition. I think that free fall really should be here to stay, and it should just continue to be used in competition. And I don't think string pins should take anything away from that. I honestly also kind of see string pin bowling as another novelty in bowling, because whether you realize it or not, there actually is a mechanic that all the bowling centers have that could be used in tournaments, but it is not legal in tournaments. And it's a mechanic that almost every beginner bowler uses, and that is bumpers. Think about it. When was the last tournament you bowled in where bumpers were legal? I've never bowled anything like that. So really, I kind of see string pins as like bumpers. It's there in case you need it. You can bowl in a center that has string pins, or just choose to bowl in a center that has free fall. If you're just bowling with friends at night, like on a Friday or Saturday night, and you want something to kill time, then you can put on bumpers on the lanes. You know, you can make the ball bounce off the bumpers and get a strike that way, or it makes it basically near impossible for you to miss a 10 pin, even though I've seen people miss a 10 pin anyway with bumpers being up. But yeah, I just personally kind of see string pins as more of a novelty in bowling, as opposed to an actual mechanic that would eventually be used in competition. So for my personal opinion, I think that string pins just need to be like an accessory with bowling. Similar to how bumpers are for beginner bowlers when they're at cosmic bowling and whatever, and those little dinosaur ramps that little kids can push their bowling balls onto the lane and hopefully get a strike. I see string pin bowling as pretty much a novelty, just like those things are. It's definitely fun when you're just practicing or when you're hanging out with friends at a birthday party, but for my opinion, I just do not think that string pins should ever be allowed in PBA competition or any other high-level competition. And if they are present in any tournaments I want to bowl in, I will not be bowling in them personally, but occasionally I might bowl on string pins for practice and to see what the heck it is with them. And if I want to have like a nice, clean time and I don't have a whole lot of time to kill and I don't want to spend time on lanes breaking down or anything like that, I will bowl on string pins. But as far as competition goes, I don't think it should ever be legal, and I'm hoping the PBA and USBC will basically just say, you know what, we're not going to have string pins in our competitions. So, you know, that's my view on string pins. Again, I'm very curious to see what you all think in the comment section. Do you think that they should be outright banned and just eliminated from the sport of bowling in general? Or do you think they should be legal in tournaments? Or what do you think about my opinion that I think they should stay, but they should never be allowed in competition just for casual play? Let me know down in the comment section what you guys think. Also, if you don't want to miss any of these kind of videos that I'm making occasionally on Fridays, then be sure to hit that subscribe button so you will never miss any of my videos. I'm Karsatowski. Keep watching my content, and I will see you in that next video. See ya!